It's been a while since I sat down at this desk and had a little chat with you guys and tried to bring some sort of value to you and offload some information that might be of use to you. It's been a very, very weird year. It's been a very, very strange year. I hope you guys are all doing okay, and I hope all of your loved ones are doing very well at this point in time. We move on. Motorsport has returned, thank goodness. I think we all needed the distraction. I think we all needed the focus and the enjoyment. I hope you all enjoyed the F1 at the weekend. It was amazing. So good to have that back. And I'm not the biggest fan of F1, but that was good. Kind of brought everything back to reality. And I wanted to talk to you today about video, about what I'm doing right here, and why it's kind of important if you're not already doing it yourself as a racing driver. You need to be able to do that thing that I'm banging out on about all the time, about telling your story. But how do you do that? It's one of the questions that get asked all the time. Now, obviously, as Camber Media, I can go around and follow drivers and make videos for them and film them and edit them and all that sort of stuff. But with the current COVID-19 situation that's going on, I know for a fact myself and others who do what I do are in the same boat. We're kind of struggling because the regulations and the restrictions that are in place now mean that you only have one or two people in your crew that can be part of your team, that can be there with you. There's normally only one total person, media, allowed over the whole event, and that's normally a syndicated affair, so it'll be one photographer, one videographer over the whole event that will be covering the whole lot. So we can't get in and help do things. So the reality is that you're likely, or your person that is going to be helping you out, you are going to have to learn how to video yourself, how to take content yourself and produce your own content. And that's kind of what I want to hopefully help out with. Teaching everyone how to do that themselves, or at least doing my part. There are lots and lots of tutorials out there, and there's probably loads better than what I'm going to give you, but I just want to try and do my bit to help get you started. So let's start right at the beginning. Let's imagine you've got no budget whatsoever for filmmaking equipment. Let's imagine you've got nothing bought, nothing fancy, no camera or anything like that. Let's start off with one thing that you do almost certainly have, and that is a mobile phone. Now, excuse this is an old broken screen mobile that I've got sitting lying about. Now this, by today's standards, these can really capture some decent quality video. So if you have got a phone that's within the past 3-4 years, start with that. It's really, really easy to do that. Just fire up your camera app, switch it over to video, hit record, and away you go. There are really only a couple of things that you need to keep in mind, and everything is going to be like a modular step up, so there's always something that you can do to improve things. You don't need to have, hulking great bits of equipment, gimbals and wireless mics and all that sort of stuff. It all helps and it will all add to the enjoyment factor of your videos, but you don't need to. The only thing you need to do is start hitting record on that, and I'm going to give you a few basic pointers to get the best quality out of what you're doing. Now, when you're recording on a phone, what you're usually recording on is either the main camera, which is usually the best quality camera out of the two cameras, and then there's a front camera on the front of it as well. Now, the front camera makes it easier if you're just doing it yourself, because obviously you've got that wonderful screen in front of you. You can just flip it around and you can see what you're doing. But the one thing that you're going to find is that it starts to shake a little bit. Now, the easiest option for that, again, if you want to keep things ultra low budget, and you're really not wanting to spend any money on things at all, then for a couple of pounds you can pick up one of these. So these are just the cheap, bog standard little selfie sticks. That's all they are. And you just mount your phone in that, and that will give you a little bit more stability on your video than if you were just holding it by hand. And again, you can just sort of tilt it, have a little chat to the camera, and yeah, it does the job. It's not going to be amazing quality, but then you're not spending anything, so you really have to temper your expectations with this stuff. Now, for about between £8 and £12 on Amazon. You can even get one of these selfie sticks that's actually got a tripod on the bottom as well. So you could just set it up and then do your little bits to camera. But it also makes it easier if you want to turn the camera around as well. You can extend it out and you can do some cool little shots of your car. It just makes it a little bit nicer as well. So selfie stick, like say, you can go for £1 to a couple of pounds for one of these normal bog standard bits of plastic and metal. Think very carefully about it though, because if you're resting your £300, £400, £500 smartphone in something that's £2 to £3, it's a little bit shady. That's why I don't mind putting like an old second-hand phone in there and you can just throw it about. You really don't care. But that's a super easy way and a super simple way of stabilising your video, making sure that it's not too shaky, and you can actually do some really nice shots with that. Dead easy to do and dead easy to pick up one of those as well. The next thing that you're going to want to do is sound. Now, the sound on this video should be good for a couple of reasons. Number one is the fact that we're indoors. So I'm in my house and I'm recording this. Now, I'm also using what's called a lav mic, and you're going to hear lots of rustling. So that is this little mic here. Now, this is attached via a wire into the camera directly. And believe it or not, you can get lav mics for your mobile phone as well that plug in. So you can buy one of them off Amazon and you can use it. And what that'll do is when you're doing a direct piece to camera like this, the audio is coming directly from this little microphone here and going in. Whereas if you think about it, if you're doing an interview and your phone's away over here, the little microphones are on the bottom of your phone, and it has to get further than where this microphone has to go to, right? So what that means is that it's picking up a lot more of the background noise that's in between you and that microphone. That's even if your camera's facing towards you. What's likely to happen is that it's actually picking up audio from way over there. Now, in a motorsport setting, you know how busy and how loud the paddock can be. So trying to find a quiet space to record your videos isn't always going to happen. Whereas with these things, they block out a lot of the noise around the microphone, and they only focus on what you're actually wanting to pick up. So these are an absolute godsend. They're only a couple of pounds. What you might need to do, and this is where it starts to get a little bit technical with your phone, is that most phones nowadays don't have headphone jacks. So if you're on iPhone, for instance, and your Android ones, what you may need to do, so for instance, my newer Xiaomi Android phone doesn't have a headphone jack in it. So what I need to do is you've got this little breakout adapter which can do out to that. So again, just plug that in there and then you can plug your lav mic and get the audio directly onto your video from that. Works a treat and it's really good. When you are buying a lav mic, make sure that it says that it is for a smartphone, because there are different types of microphones and all it comes down to is just a little headphone jack, a little 3.5mm jack. Some have got more connections than others and it works better on a smartphone. So there you go. That's the easiest way, and the main difference is that you go from audio sounding like this. So this is an example of what it's like recording directly to your smartphone, and picture quality it's fine. The audio quality is fine, but then I'm in a small room here, so it's very quiet audio wise. So let's pretend that we're outside. We'll simulate some wind noise with this fan here, and what we'll do is we'll put it on just reasonable. This is just a little breeze, but you'll hear what it does to the mic. It makes it do that awful crackly noise, especially if we get it up into the microphone, because it's a little bit hidden with a gimbal, but you hear what that comes across. Now you can't see anything of that on your phone because obviously you can't tell, but the audio is very difficult to listen to audio that sounds like this. So conversely, if I was to hook up one of these lav mics, the audio changes completely. It's much more audible, it's much more crisp and clear and a little bit more direct, and also it's not affected by the wind as much. So for instance, if I'm to do that, if I put it right next to the mic, you will still hear it obviously, but then you can just turn your back to wherever the wind is coming from and protect it a little bit. So you know if there's wind coming in this way, that it's going to affect it. And again, when you upload it to YouTube, it just makes it so much easier to listen to, and it's much more engaging, even when you put it onto Facebook. So that's audio. That's another cheap way that you can get audio sorted out. Next thing is lighting. So the great thing about newer smartphone cameras is that they are very, very sophisticated and clever bits of kit. They will automatically try and adapt the lighting for your surroundings, but that can work for and against you as well. So when you think about the different times of day and you're taking different videos, it's going to affect the lighting on your video. That's going to become a problem when you try and do a selfie around about lunchtime, because the sun's at its strongest and it's really going to affect the lens on the camera. So try and find a little bit of shade if it is bright sunlight and you have to do a video around about lunchtime. Find a little bit of shade and it'll work out just fine. As well as always have the sun, if it's a bright sunny day, have the sun either to the side of you or directly in front of you. Never have the sun behind you, because if the sun's beaming down onto the picture as well, what will happen is the camera will darken the picture because it's got this big, huge beaming ball of light in, and it'll make you look really, really dark and you won't be able to see anything. So always, always, always either have the sun in front of you or to the side, and then that way the camera can work its best. It'll try and pick up where you are, and it'll light the picture appropriately as well. So you've got your audio sorted, you've got your lighting sorted, you've got pretty much everything all done and dusted, and things are starting to look good. But what if you want to take things a little bit further? What if you're really wanting to get fancy and you're wanting to start spending a little bit of money, but you don't want to buy a camera, you still want to go with your mobile phone? Well, the next step up really that you can take is what's called a gimbal. And now this is a little device that stabilizes your phone. So all that you do is you would pop your phone in here, and then what that does is when you switch it on, we'll turn this on a second. Now what happens is, whenever you move, the camera stays perfectly level. So again, you can really drastically cut down on that wobbly shake when you're taking video. And you can see it here, just the difference that it makes. Now for one of these things, you'd be looking anywhere between 80 to 120 pounds. You can buy them second hand. In fact, you probably want to buy them second hand. They are just lightweight motors that are inside these things. With the modern ones, this is actually about 3-4 years old, this one. So the newer ones are probably a fraction of the size and weight, because when this thing's and your phone is in your hand for a little while, it gets very, very heavy. So a stabilizer is what you want if you want to up your mobile footage game, and then you're going to start looking into new cameras and that sort of stuff anyway. So that is what I would say is the most important things that you want to cover first of all, is getting a stable shot, selfie stick or a tripod. You want to get good sound, which is a lav mic, or be as close to the microphone as possible. And then you also want to sort out your lighting, which is get as much natural light onto what you're trying to look at. So that means keeping your sun in front of you or to the side, and making sure that you shoot things in open daylight. Try and avoid the lunchtime hour from about 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and things will look much softer and much nicer and much, much more pretty. Right, that's been plenty rambling, hasn't it? Hopefully you've got something, because I really, really want to see you guys starting documenting all of the things that you're doing. Go out and practice, go out and take lots and lots of videos. We'll talk next time in the next episode about how to edit these videos, and how to actually compile them all together into a video that is entertaining, enjoyable and enthralling as well. But from myself, David, as always, I'm here. Get me at Camber Media, get me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next episode.